everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to the Slowest Blitz, where we are playing Asphodel. It is turn 24, and the war continues. Let's jump into things, shall we? So, a couple of good things happening this turn. We've completed Conjuration 5. That gives us Howl, namely. Gives us a couple of other things, but really Howl is what we're looking for. And we also complete Conjuration, or Enchantment 3, along the way, which is mostly just a pick-me-up. We're not crazy about anything in there, but there are a few little things. And I think we're now going to be trying to refocus our attention back to Alt 5, primarily for the concept of Mother Oak, though that is going to be somewhat difficult for us to accomplish. I really wish, if we weren't needing combat power and having to switch gears into other scenarios, we would have been at Alt 5 already, and we would be going Conjuration 5, or not Conjuration, Construction 5, so we could make Thistle Mace and get Mother Oak up, but unfortunately we keep finding ourselves pulled in other directions, and that is that. So let's jump into some of the stuff. Got 2 casts of Call of the Wilds. We've got 1 in Forest of the Lost. And we're actually up against the man group here. So this is pretty interesting. Our pack of wolves versus their slightly injured pack of wolves, and we win. So we actually did good on that one. Pretty happy about that. Not only is it nice, obviously we just take the province back, but it's nice to kill off that Call of the Wild as well, so an enjoyable situation there. We do get Call of the Wild in Pugria, so really interesting. It feels like Man and I are so in sync with some of the things that we're doing, right? The turn that we're like, fuck it, we're going to target not a forest, Man does the exact same thing, right? So Man comes in, we only have a single PD here, so this is definitely going to be a win for Man, even though it is a smaller force, whereas ours, going against Phaeacia in Banded Hills, again, smaller force because it's not a forest, and there's actually a fair amount of PD here, which is not great. Not great. Especially not with the heavy infantry. If it was all militias, maybe. But unfortunately, we do lose that one. So, 1 for 1 on Call of the Wilds this turn. Really need to probably be more targeted in my usage there and chill out on spamming it. It does do some good things for us. It is useful, but definitely don't need to be spending so many gems on it every single turn. Got a bunch of battles. We actually witnessed a lot of conflict across the world, which I do enjoy. We'll just go down the list and see how it goes. So first, and I love this, first we actually see that we called it correctly, and Man sent a massive force of Knights of Avalon into Vaucluse. Had we stayed here, we probably would have lost the fight, just straight up. Probably just would have lost to this number of monks and Knights of Avalon. But even if we didn't, we most assuredly would have been mauled, and absolutely Phaeacia would be able to win against us. So as it is, a bunch of wolves coming in, they're just going to destroy the mannequins before the knights can even really get involved. And no big deal, we kill a wolf. Oh no. Lots of knights here. Whole lot of knights. Yeah, that's very scary. So we moved into Bycliff. We have 2 stacks of centaurs, and we find some Ictiids, actually. So this is pretty interesting. See how this goes. We have one set on attack rear, the other set on attack closest. This actually does a decent job of pulling the Ichthyids apart. The Ichthyids, while interesting, are not especially good combatants. They don't have great combat stats. They're better because they're amphibious and they have nets, right? Or at least those versions have nets. It's why they're useful, right? You can send them underwater. They're pretty good there. The nets can be very useful in the right situations. But against actual combat stats, they just die. So we lose one Centaur warrior there, kill a bunch of Ichthyids and Ichthyid warriors. Very happy about that. We attack in Frosted Peaks. Counter raiding with a bunch of mannequins. We find just PD. No big deal. So we will win that, lose nothing. Counter in Iron, or not counter, but raid in Iron Peaks with the leftovers of a Call of the Wild. This might be close. Heavy infantry are such a problem for the wolves. And it looks like we rout there at the last second before we can finish off the archers. Unfortunate. Iron Peaks. That is apparently a replay bug. We did take Iron Peaks, although we lost a large portion of our wolves to do so. So interesting little replay bug there. Impassable Mountains, we are attacked here by a large amount of longbowmen. A very large amount of longbowmen. This is something I haven't really talked about. This is also a part of why man is a bad matchup for Asphodel. So there's just a little bit of PD here. They're going to smash this. That doesn't matter. What does matter is these longbowmen are actually really bad for us. They do a really good job. 15 damage, piercing, attack, range 45, very long range. They do a really good job of popping mannequins in large groups, but more importantly, our elite troops, the whole deal with them is that they have extremely high defense, and they're hard to deal with in melee combat. You saw it in expansion, right? Like some of the times that we did lose Black Centaur is when we ran into, obviously, getting unlucky or getting someone on the flanks, getting swarmed and harassed down happens, but other times we would take wounds or we would lose centaurs when we were charging into large amounts of ranged fire. Because ranged fire doesn't give a shit about your defense. It cares about your protection. And the Black Centaurs do not have good protection. They have tiny shields. So those shields are not going to afford them a large defense against the arrows. They do have headgear, so that helps. But 15 piercing damage is more than enough when in large concentrations to do a lot of damage to the Black Centaurs. And that's a problem. If you have defense, Landless Knights are perfectly fine defenders to just sit there. Relatively decent protection, relatively decent defense skill. Or things like Knights of Avalon, which are not going to die quickly. These guys can do a lot of damage from behind. And things like both the Landless Knights and the Knights of Avalon have very good shields and are not really in danger from the very good shields, very high protection, not really in danger from the longbows, whereas our Black Centaurs or Minotaurs, right, are absolutely in danger from. So it's really a lot of factors all stacking against us. They're going to get smashed. No big deal there. We attack in Sitha. Small flanking party of centaurs. Just one PD. Nothing matters there. Easy. A couple of battles that we witness for other nations. Bandar log into Abysia is just a ping. Seeing what Abysia has here. Has a Anathemant Salamander with a couple of looks like guards. Are these archers gonna burn? They might. They're fatiguing out, but no one catches fire, so interesting. So just kind of seeing where this was where Abyssia's god was last turn, if we remember, right? So just kind of pinging that situation. We see Alm attack into a throne. And we have the most hated of thrones, the Watcher thrones, right? So bunch of Watchers, got a monolith, Shamblers and Atlantean militia, kind of whatever. These Kithrionic lions are no joke. Very high invulnerability, high damage, bites and claws, high health. But they're dangerous. And this is a Master Smith with no gear or gems. Summon Earth Power. Soldiers of Steel. I wonder if this was a misclick. I wonder if this was a misclick. Because this guy is dead. This guy is very dead. And I don't really see a reason why we're killing him. Yeah, he very dead. Huh. Well, if Ulm didn't know what was in Ashlands, they now know what is in Ashlands at the price of 185 gold. So, I'm assuming that's going to be a misclick. We have Vanarus attacking Pythium in Resting Heights. Little stack of Herdmen. No PD here, so no big deal. And then we have Pythium breaking siege against Vanarus in their capital. Holy shit. Alright. There's a small force here. This is obviously going to lose, but I would assume this is not what Pythium wanted to hit. Look at this. This is... I love this type of shit. Being able to, like, scroll down. Look at all these Retarii. Holy fuck. Just off into the distance there. These guys are pretty interesting, right? They got the net. They got the very high damage trident. If you don't know how Retarii work or gladiators work, right? They're very cheap to recruit. They're very good units for what you are paying to get them. But they will only fight one battle if they are wounded or hit someone. If they take no damage and they don't hit anything in the battle, like if you just ping them with a scout, they don't all just, they're all gone, right? But you get into a battle, they take damage, they hit someone, they're gone. They just delete themselves as a unit after the battle. So they can be very effective, but I rarely see them get used outside of situations where someone is already on the defense and they're like, I have to spend a shit ton of money to try to swing things on one big battle. We can also see a fair amount of the other Pythium-style Roman legionnaire-ish troops, the Principes, LAs, and then we have a big stack of the Hydras, very scary. These guys have a poison cloud, so my assumption is that all these Retarii are, or not all of them, but probably a fair amount of them, are going to get poisoned, and they're going to leave this battle, or they're going to leave after this battle, and it's not going to be a great situation over here. And then we actually have in the back a bunch of Thurges. We've got a Patriarch. We've got a couple Rar I'm a Dragon. So we got some consuls or legates. This is an overwhelming force, but it's an overwhelming force because of these Retarii, and they are going to... Many of them are going to be gone at the end of this. What the fuck does Vanarus have here? This feels like it's just bait. There's some herdmen here. There's some villains here. There's some Blackhawks. He does have some casters in the back, which I do find very interesting. He's got Phoenix Power. He's got some gems on these guys. He's got Swarm Casters, Swarm Casters, Swarm Casters, Phoenix Power. So I'm assuming the Phoenix Power is probably going to summon some Fire Elementals or something like that. The Swarm Casters, he is just putting... This is great. He is just putting bodies out here to hit as many Retarii as possible in combination with the Poison Cloud that the Hydras are going to be doing. A single hit, all it takes. All the Retarii need is to hit something or be hit, and they're done. This will be their last battle. So, yep, Fire Elementals coming out. So these Fire Elementals will have a Fire Shield. They'll take a couple of hits from Retarii, and this whole play... Oh, bunch of Falling Frost. That might actually be really bad for Pythium themselves. If they do that... Oh no. Are they going to Falling Frost themselves? Not currently. Ooh, that was a lightning bolt. Oh, those Falling Frosts destroyed the Elementals. So the Elementals really didn't get to do a lot. Bunch of Mind Burns, etc., etc. So we can see they actually lost 30 Retarii in there. Lost 2 Thurges, lost a Thurge Acolyte. Vanarus lost basically everything here. Most of their mages did retreat, which I'm assuming probably were scripted to retreat, right? Probably did the swarms retreat, did the fire elementals retreat, that type of situation. Or he might have left one on there because I think the fire elementals need magical leadership or else they'll die. So maybe that's the singular death there. But I'm willing to bet that this is not representative, because it's not going to show the Retarii that just quit after this battle. I would be surprised if he has half this number now. So that's a very interesting, very well done strategy from Vanarus, and very painful. Though, very interesting to see the amount of magic coming out from Pythium. That's dangerous stuff. That amount of Falling Frost is very dangerous. That amount, there was a fair amount of Mind Burning going on. There was a fair amount, I think we saw a Thunderstrike in there. That's dangerous stuff. That could do a lot of damage. The issue is I'm willing to bet Vanarus has a very large stack right next to Pythium, and that stack is about to come onto the capital next turn. And most of these Retarii are going to be gone, would be my assumption. So, very interesting stuff. We also have a battle in Illidar, raiding into Phaeacia here with some wolves and some long dead. Nothing doing. 1 PD, easy peasy. And then in Black Harbor, we move our entire force, and there is a fair amount of PD here, actually. So obviously we don't need this amount, but if we had sent a small raiding force, it might have actually gotten popped. So we lose 4 boars, 1 mannequin, 1 satyr mannequin, and yeah, that's good. Unexpected event in Frosted Peaks, we gain some fire gems, very nice. Unexpected event in Kepria, we find a Hoburg village. That's interesting, but not especially useful to us, but interesting. So, let's take a look at things. Phaeacian front, man front. Alright. We guessed correctly. Big stack of man came in. We have reinforcements from man behind, bunch of longbowmen, landless knights. We've seen that. That's a problem. We can't fight that with what we have right now. Expect to win, and then expect to win against Phaeacia. We did complete Howl this turn, though. So what we are doing is we are returning the main army. Now that we control Illidar, we can actually use that movement, right? Force movement to be able to reach Phaeacia much easier. So we're popping back to Phaeacia because we are recruiting more units there, right? More Jade Maidens, more Minotaur Warriors, and this Panic Apostate. So next turn, when we're back in Phaeacia, we will have more units with us, and we'll have a person who can cast Howl. That's a big deal. With that, and with the reinforcements we are bringing to New Coast, we're bringing in 125 mannequins from Monarch Woods, right? With that, the reinforcements from Phaeacia, and with the addition of Howl, I think we will have a better chance of marching against Phaeacia in Vaclez, and potentially winning against both Phaeacia and Man. Really, we're hoping we're not fighting a big stack of Man, though, because there's still the chance that we lose and that everything falls apart at that point. But, again, 190 units here. We'll have like 40-ish units here. 125 units there. We'll start approaching that level of chaff and kill that I need. And adding in Howl will hopefully seal the deal there. We're kind of banking on Man's honor at this point. So if Man were to say, okay, well, Phaeacia is dead, and fight Phaeacia here, obviously that would be nice for us because we don't have to fight Phaeacia, but I think it would still be an easy Man victory, right? I don't think that's in the cards in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Just like it's possible that Man moves raiding stacks into New Coast, and if they do, they'll smash these 125 mannequins, which will mean we don't have those reinforcements, and that'll be painful. But I think actually Man is playing this very honorable. I'm in an alliance with Phaeacia. We are working together. The goal is to get Phaeacia their lands back and kill Asphodel. So I don't think they're going to raid into Phaeacian territory, at least not especially deeply, because Phaeacia, my assumption is they're gonna move off of Phaeacia's fort here and let Phaeacia try to fight us while they move back to target our north territories. It's possible that that's not the case, but the conversations that I've had with both Phaeacia and Man give me this kind of like indication of Man's character, that he, even though it might be a more strategically optimal thing to just be like, okay, well, Phaeacia, you're dead. I'm gonna step off this fort. I want you to go expend yourself on Asphodel, and then I'm gonna take this fort, and you're out of the game. I don't think anything like that is gonna happen. I think Phaeacia is gonna keep fighting until the last breath, which is gonna afford us the opportunity, and Man is going to let them, which is going to afford us the opportunity to try to take the fight that we want to take, rather than be forced into a different fight, right? We're patrolling over here in Illidar just because we do want to keep this forest. I did think about moving into Nam this turn with this small force, but I really want to keep this forest because it helps our mobility. If we have it, we can get through down here much faster than just going around like we have previously. Might not matter. We'll see. Okay. I think that's mostly the Phaeacian front. Not really a whole lot to talk about elsewise there. Up in recruitment, no recruitment in Monarch Woods. Again, we're starting to feel the pinch, right? Recruiting a bunch in Phaeacia, very expensive units. The Minotaur Warriors probably should not be investing in them that much, but they are the option that I feel that we have to kill Knights of Avalon. 29 damage base, 5 Berserker will push this up to 34 damage. Enough HP to potentially survive some attacks from Knights of Avalon, especially with the boosted protection from Berserking, and if we get Group Bark Skin on them. So these are very expensive units, very high upkeep for us, but they're what I think we can actually utilize to make a difference in the fights, so trying to get them. And see how that goes. So no recruitment in Monarch Woods, no recruitment in Amicton. Recruiting a Sage and more Minotaur Warriors up in Shadowglade. Black Dryad this time around, not a Dryad Hag. And some Black Centaurs, still no Black Minotaur. It's coming. We're close. So what's happening against Man this turn? So I really considered going now. Send everything on Sylvania. Everything from Asphodel on Sylvania. Not everything, but a lot of things from Asphodel onto Sylvania. Crack it this turn. Go from there. But I really want Howl to be a surprise. And I really want to be able to use it in a big fight with Man. Because if he knows I have Howl, he can prepare against it, right? He can put a bunch of Landless Knights or a couple of Knights of Avalon on guard positions. He can have them in the wings, right? There's a lot of different ways that he can mitigate the effectiveness of Howl. But if he's not prepared for it, then it could be an easy way to get into the back of his monks, which again, the faster that we can kill a large amount of monks, the better for us in a long or in a big battle with Man, right? And I'm kind of expecting that to happen in the Phaeacian front rather than up here at this current point in time. So if we were going to attack Sylvania, I would want to employ what we have, but since I want to keep it a secret, we're going to go for intel gathering this turn instead. And we're actually doing that by dumping some scrying pools into both Sylvania and into Haloma, so that we can try to get a good read on where things are, how much is there, and if it's worth showing our hand to pop whatever is there, right? We're also throwing another Call of the Wild. I know I've been talking about the idea of we need to stop just spamming Call of the Wilds. We need to use those for more specific things. This is a targeted strike against this lady. This Crone of Avalon. We've looked at them before, right? This is cap only, slow to recruit, 465 gold, unit from Man. It's very likely that we've already hit Glistening Wood once. It's very likely that he's pumped up the PD there. But he doesn't have a stack here like he has had in other locations. So it's possible that we get this snipe. It's possible that it doesn't do anything, but if it does, that could be a really big, not a really big deal, but it could be a punishing blow, right? Like, losing that much gold for 8 gems is not insubstantial, and it's also demoralizing, right? I also would just love the chance to kill that lady because I don't want to fight her in the future. I do not know why I am continuing to move this werewolf elsewhere. I guess the point is we're moving him into Glistening Woods because if this Call of the Wild works, then we can hand off some wolves to one or the other and send them back. But I don't know that that's actually going to happen. Moving around a bunch of mannequins, mostly just to pick up more mannequins. We're also trying to create a moving web to intercept counter raids, right? So over in Levendalen, we're going to have a decent amount of mannequins and some centaurs. If he tries to raid into that, trying to kill it. Over in Sitha, we're going to have a decent amount of mannequins, some attack rear shenanigans, etc., etc. Attacking into Namor with more centaurs. I do want to do deep raiding, but he's already shown that he's willing to patrol areas and that he's putting in PD to protect his temples. So, we're going to be doing some deep raiding because I think it's worthwhile, but I also want to take advantage of his stack being away to try to maintain some of our, or retake some of our original lands, and go from there. We're also doing some of our first site searching, remote site searching spells. I would really have loved to have been able to spend more time site searching manually with some of our Dryad hags. They do a pretty good job of site searching. But it's a gems versus turns versus positioning. We're undergoing so much raiding, things like Call of the Wild, etc., that I don't think it's especially safe to have people out site searching. And we really need gem income. So while we've got to spend it to use it, on the death side of things and glamour side of things, I think it's probably going to be worth it right now. We're doing an At the End of the Rainbow down in Icton. We're also doing a Dark Knowledge there. And then we're doing a second Dark Knowledge down in Forest of the Lost as well. And we're sending up this Panic Apostate to Asphodel. So that pretty much wraps up the situation. We are, again, trying to go for Alteration 5. That's going to take 2 turns to get there, so a little bit of downtime as we move towards the concept of putting up Mother Oak. Also why we're trying to not spend as many... That's why we're not doing multiple Calls of the Wild or Carrion Centaurs or things like that. We're trying to get a little bit of a bank for being able to utilize Mother Oak. It's gonna take us a second. I really hate the construction changes. That it takes so much more effort to get to level 5 than it does to level 4, that this really stifles your timer. If you need a Thistle Mace to get Mother Oak up, it really exacerbates the ability to get there in a timely manner, especially if you're having to make pit stops along the way. But most likely it'll be Alteration 4. Next turn, Alteration 5 into going up to Construction 5 to try to get to a Thistle Mace and Mother Oak, and go from there. So, yeah. Anything else? Probably a battle on Pythium soon. Or probably the end of Pythium soon. Doesn't look like a whole lot of real change on the Abysia, Agartha, Bandar log front. I don't know where Bandar log's army is. I'm trying to put scouts all over the place, but I'm not seeing anything. And then, yeah. I think I might have jumped the gun on the Pyrene Jotunheim conflict, but maybe not. Maybe it's started. This is one that I just did not have the scouts for. I wish I had more scouts. Or I wish I had spread my scouts out more. But I have them very concentrated in Pythium, Vanarus Pythium, Bandar log, and then basically around Man. And then 1 or 2 in other places at this current point. More money! More scouts! Please and thank you. That's it for this video. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.